Right now in studio with me, I have Chantal Stephen, who's the founder of TEAM, that's TEEM,
Yes.
which stands for Together We Are Energized and Empowered to Join the Movement. That's where you get the team. So welcome to the program.
Thank you for having
Tell
me.
you from the Bray originally.
I am originally from Bethany, and I moved to Brooklyn years ago.
Right. And tell us why you are back in Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely. So I started Team Voices on my 30th birthday a few years ago, and that was because there was a forum and a space that was needed to talk more about sex trafficking happening in young adults. And part of sex trafficking is part of dating violence.
Right.
So I go into community spaces in schools and churches and educate youths and young adults about what a healthy relationship looks like and how they can avoid the risk of being trafficked. So part of sex trafficking is that youths are forced and coerced into performing sexual acts in gain for food, shelter, and clothing. So I've been doing that for 3 years, just trying to, partner with youth allies to make sure that they are aware of the signs and symptoms of that.
And why was this important for you?
So this was important for me because I did not know it was happening. I didn't know that it was happening in my neighborhood in Brooklyn and in Queens. And it was not until I was in class and I learned so much more about it.
And what do you share when you go into the communities here in Trinidad and Tobago?
So in Trinidad, I have partnered with the Libre Council to give back to students in need. So I started doing that because last year around March, 4 people in my community were murdered, and it took a toll on my entire community, including myself. And I know that I needed to turn that negative experience into something positive for my community. And what better way to do that than to give back to the community where the 4 people who I knew were killed. So now I've partnered with the council, and we go back and do, back to school drives. We did one this past year where we were able to service about 120 kids in my neighborhood.
And do you also bring the conversation about sex trafficking into the schools as well?
Yes. So when I do my workshops in New York, I do focus more on sex trafficking, healthy relationships, dating violence.
But do you do that here as well?
I also did that with the Libre netball team.
Right. Okay.
Last year, I had the opportunity to come and speak to young people about that, and I hope that I can do more workshops on it.
And what about Vonnet Bigfoot? Something there tells me you know Vonnet somehow?
So Vonnet I met through the council member, Renwick, who is, one of the members on the council, and she's heard about the good work that Team Voices is doing in New York. And with my partnership with the Libre Council, that's how we were introduced to know each other.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right, so you're here for how long again?
I'm here for just 2 more days. I came down for about 4 days, and that's it.
So you're going to come back?
I am definitely going to come back, and I would love to host just some anti-sex trafficking workshops to educate not only youths, but other spaces such as churches and public forums about what the signs and symptoms of sex trafficking looks like.
Very quickly, just give us about 3 or 4 of the signs and symptoms that people should look forward to.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good question. So the first sign, I would say, a youth who does not have some sort of role model or positive person in their life, right? So traffickers prey on vulnerable kids when they know that kids may not have a family member who supports and loves them. You also want to look out for kids who may have certain branding on their body. Sometimes they might have, I am the property of. You might see barcodes written on them. You want to look out for that. Kids who have a lot of money and they cannot say where they're getting it from, right? They just are with large amounts of money, and you just don't know, you're not in school, you're not going to work, so I don't understand where you're getting that from. And kids with a history of abuse. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, all those kids are more at risk for sex trafficking.
Well, we look forward to when you actually have the conference or the workshop here in Trinidad to be able to find out more. But right now, I want to thank you so much, Chantal Stephen, for dropping by.
Thank you.
And saying hi. TNT Talent abroad, doing good things abroad and here in Trinidad and Tobago.